can't live without hope that things will change for the better. You can't live without the dream of someone reading your letter. We've had dust storms before and spit out the dirt. We've had droughts before, but none quite like this. We've had winds that cut up your face all to pieces, black blizzards that stripped all the paint off your car. Fires like twisters, no sisters of mercy. They come with no warning, only that sound. God is roaring drunk and out on the town. Next year everything will come good. The rains, they will fall and we'll dance on the hood. We'll fill up our bellies with plentiful food. We'll eat, drink and be merry. Yeah, next year people wait and see. Where next year people, you and me. Henry got hit by lightning twice in the head. He stood and walked away, we thought he was dead. Now he talks funny, says he's wired to the sky. Walks for miles and miles and no one knows why. The bankmen, they came and wrote things down on paper. We all went outside and just stood around. We were glad when they left. They brought nothing but heartache, and the seed we had planted, it stayed in the ground. Next year everything will come good. The rains, they will fall and we'll dance on the hood. We'll fill up our bellies with plentiful food. We'll eat, drink and be merry. Yeah, next year people wait and see. Where next year people, you and me. Dry endless plains and we suffered the worst. Are we being punished or are we just cursed? It's almost 10 years and no drop of rain. Only mocking blue skies bringing more of the same. Our mother was crying when they sent us to stay with strangers in a town, and we both ran away. Back to the dust and see Henry again. We're creatures of habit, don't you know? One day we'll reap what we sow. Next year everything will come good. The rains, they will fall and we'll dance on the hood. We'll fill up our bellies with plentiful food. We'll eat, drink and be merry. Yeah, next year people, wait and see. Where next year people, you and me. Yeah, next year people, wait and see. Where next year people, you and me.
Let's join together in prayer. Precious and loving God, as we hear these words in this song, what it means to be people that are waiting for next year, that are waiting for the next blessing, that are waiting for the next opportunity. We ask for you to be in our lives as we continue on our journeys, and we ask for you to see our blessings while that we're on the journey, not just waiting for the larger blessing at the end of the road, but each step that moves us closer to that blessing. Be with us in this time of conversation, Lord, and in your Son's precious name I pray. Amen. This week's song, Colin Hay. Colin Hay was a member of an 80s rock band out of Australia called Men at Work. They became very popular in the 80s with their song, Who Can It Be Now? Overkill. The biggest song that they had was I Come From the Land Down Under. Men at Work, very huge 80s band. After Men at Work kind of uh, fizzled out in popularity over years, Colin Hay went out as a solo artist and has continued to record records, has continued to write new songs. And for the next couple of weeks, we're going to look at some Colin Hay songs and as we go through these conversations. But I have chosen to start with this song, Next Year People, as we kind of ponder our journeys through faith to great moments, as we ponder our journey through faith to big moments that we expected big things, but maybe it didn't pull together in the way that we hoped, as we pray through the moments that we long and long to get to, but sometimes those journeys take a little bit longer than we've hoped. And sometimes those journeys end with blessings that we didn't expect, and then sometimes blessings that we least desired. So I want to talk through all this. Whenever I have a conversation in this way, whenever I do it, you're going to hear this phrase over and over and over again the more that we go in conversations through our time together. When I present some of the things I'm about to share, I have to start with this preface. I do not, I do not, I do not believe that God makes bad things happen for us to grow. I do not, I do not, I do not believe that God makes bad things happen for us to grow. But what I do believe is as we journey through bad things, we can find growth. There's my preface. I'll probably say it 3 more times through this conversation. But when I hear this, the title of the song, as I hear these words from Colin Hay saying, next year people we will be, next year people you will see, I think about many times that I've been in really intense moments in my life journey, and I have uttered the phrase, if I can just get to this pivotal moment, everything will be fine. Every year that it comes around church conference season, and I have to work on church conference paperwork, I hear myself utter the phrase, if I can just get to Christmas, this will all be done. There's been times that I've dealt with intense moments, and I have uttered the phrase, if I can just get 6 months down the road, it'll all be done. There's been times that I've been really angry and I've wanted to go out and crush ants with nuclear bombs, and I've asked myself the question, will this even matter 5 years from now? And every time that I have asked these questions to myself, I've set this inner time clock that I have more of a desire to get to a conclusion than I have within me the willingness to go through the journey to get to that place. I'm intentionally wearing my San Diego Padres hat tonight. There's been many times as a San Diego Padres fan, especially in the 2024 baseball season, that I have uttered the phrase, well, maybe next year. I actually believed this was the year for the Padres to make it to the World Series. There was a part of me that actually believed that they had the ability to win it all, but then they got into that series with that rival team from the North, and I guess we got to wait again till next year. That's a phrase that we use so many times, and things that we love. We look at our sporting teams, our baseball teams, whether they be the Dodgers or the Padres, our football teams, whether they be the Chargers or the Rams, and we have these deep desires to watch them be successful, and we have these moments that is this the year, But then we also get caught in the phrase, well, maybe next year. But there's always a journey within all this. There's always a joy in the anticipation and watching our sports teams thrive in such a way that we believe in them. And whether that they win the World Series or win the Super Bowl, or if we utter the phrase maybe again next year, there is still this journey each season that we go through that builds up anticipation, that builds up excitement, and it makes it worthwhile to be a part of the journey. So, if we can do those things with things that we love, how can we work through our inner beings and do those things for things that we don't like, that we avoid? We have these things that we avoid in our lives, but there are also things that we have no choices but to live through, work through, process through to get to other stages. All the kids that I've ever worked with in youth group were always excited for graduation day. They could not wait to be in 12th grade and to graduate from high school and to escape that 13-year sentence of day after day having to go and sit in class and listen. Kindergarten through 12th grade equals 13. Nobody failed. But if we sit backwards, we look backwards at life, it's not looking towards this moment of completion that makes memories for us. It's that journey from kindergarten to 12th grade that adds to our lives. It's the journey that makes it all possible. So, how do I fix that in my journey with my end of the year paperwork? How do I fix that in my journey of having that tough, hard conversation with an individual, making myself less excited to get to the end of it, but actually working and processing through the journey to work and prepare for the conversation to be something exciting and fruitful? It's one of the things that we all work through. There's two journeys in the Bible that I want to share with you about in this conversation. And both of these journeys happen with people being more focused on the destination than the journey. There's fruitful things that were almost missed because of being more focused on the destination than the journey. Being people that can't wait to get to Christmas because all the paperwork's going to be done by then. First, if you've ever gone through Emmaus, this weekend full of explanations of grace and grace presence with us in the good and the bad times, the original Emmaus experience within the Bible is this conversation on a journey taking place that individuals were so oblivious to everything that was going on in the travels that they didn't even realize who was standing right next to them in the journey. We see these two individuals so consumed by grief that they miss Christ. Christ had just been crucified. The message of the resurrection has not gone everywhere yet. And we see these two individuals on this road, and they are so much in grieving. They're so focused on getting to a point that they're not hurting anymore because their friend had died, that they don't realize that that friend was walking right next to them on this journey to Emmaus. They miss it. It takes that opportunity for them to be drawn into the moment, drawn into what's happening in that moment, inviting this fellow traveler that they had no idea what his new, real, true identity was, that they sat down with him and being drawn in that moment with him, saw him raise the bread and raise the cup as Christ did, and they realized, being drawn into the moment, that Christ was there. Not affixed to getting towards the end of grief, not affixed to getting to the town that they were going to, but being completely drawn into the moment in such a way that they were able to see what was right there. Many of our journeys through these things that we don't like are these grief filled moments that we don't want to focus on what's happening because there is immense amount of fear and worry and concern for what we're doing. Don't like doing paperwork. I don't like who might make upset because they didn't get on a certain committee. I don't I don't like being worried about who I'm gonna make sad when I share with them maybe it's time to take a year of rest for them to really focus more on their families and their own personal care, to not even thinking about a person that's the ideal person for a job. And it's not because I don't respect their gifts and talents, it's that I'm stuck in my oblivious place of grieving because I need to fill in these very important parts for church life, not seeing what's right there in front of me as a part of the journey. Within all these things, within all these distractions, there is a missing of the importance of being there in the moment to see who is actually right there in front of you with the gifts and the talents, to see who is right there with you that is ready to take a break, to see who is right there with us that's willing to try something new. We can miss all those things because sometimes within the things that we don't like, we're so focused on getting them done, we don't see the journey that's taking place. Now I'm going to switch this next one because the journey that takes place in this next explanation shifts the narrative. It's a person that goes on the journey with a focus and an importance in his mind that he has this task that he wants to complete, and he's ready to go take care of that task. But while that he's on this journey, he gets pulled into the moment so much that he discovers something new about himself. He's pulled into this journey and is not focused on the destination anymore, but he gets pulled into himself to see a potential that exists in him and a change that can take place in him that changes the rest of his life. That journey that want to share with you a bit about is about Saul the tent maker. Saul the tent maker, who was present at the stoning of Stephen, Paul the tormentor that was being waited for in Damascus at the end of this journey, who was going to torment and persecute Christians at the end of this journey. Saul the tormentor, Saul the tent maker, is pulled in to the reality of the moment because within the journey, something radically changes with him, and then he is transformed because of it. Now, there's been many, many times in my life that I ended up places that I never thought I could go to because of pivotal, crucial things that happened to me on the journey to get to that place. If I'm not asked in 10th grade by the high school choir director to join choir, I don't go to college. If I don't go to college, I don't go to seminary. If I don't go to seminary, I'm not standing here making this video. If I picked the school that I went to instead of the other school that I wanted to go to, my whole life becomes different. I may not be the pastor that's standing here in front of you. I would have never met the lovely bride in my life. I wouldn't have had the two beautiful children that I celebrate every day, that I look forward to talking to and being with. My life would have been radically different. If I did not go to the college that I went to, I wanted to go to Mars Hill College and study radio broadcasting. So I would have ended up being the morning DJ at WOLD, as Harry Chapin would say. But I wanted to study radio broadcasting at this other school that was an option. But I didn't. I took a different path. I went a different way. And now I find myself standing here And in some very silly ways, I get to experience the blessings of both. I get to find myself in this place as a public speaker, much like I would have been if I was the morning DJ at WOLD. I also, with the podcast that I do a podcast with a transgender friend who is celebrating their life journey. I do a podcast with my oldest child, and it's just a catching up and talking about how everything's going. I've done these music based sermons over the years, so I'm still having that opportunity to have that sort of morning DJ sort of existence, but I have a different fruitful present because I was willing to be changed in the moment. Saul the tent maker was changed in the moment, and then we get the Apostle Paul out of this. Saul, why are you breathing threats and rumors upon the followers of the Lord? And then Saul's eyes are covered and washed away, and he can see the reality of being through his experience with Christ, and he's changed. And he is so changed that his name is changed to Paul. And he becomes the writer of half the New Testament and the first Christian missionary to go from town to town, Barnabas and Titus, and we're standing here talking about Christ because of that work. But it's the willingness to be on this journey, and this willingness, and some of us maybe not so much a willingness. Saul did not want to be knocked off his horse and have a new realization come to his mind. Some of us have tragic moments that we are shifted in our focus, but we end up in a better place because we rode the waves of those problems and we were able to see them through the end to the potential of what can be. Again, God does not make bad things happen for us to grow. God does not make bad things happen for us to grow, but we can grow through bad things. And sometimes we end at radically different places because of those things. Whether it's blessings or worries into blessings, when we go through the journey and not just look for next year, not just look for the ending destination, we can go on this journey and see new things about ourselves as we grow and transform through hard moments. I want you to go back and listen to this Colin Hay song at the beginning of this video. And as you listen to it again, I want you to think about this process and this journey. I want you to think about the realities that come in our lives, that when we have hope for what can be next year, and Colin Hay's song is full of hope for what is to come, but being willing to hold on to that hope through the entire journey, that next year may come sooner than we ever thought. Thank you for listening to me in this conversation. It's my blessing to be on these journeys with you as you find your identities and your strength through this process. My name is the Reverend Michael Drew Davis. Maybe next year, and then also in our places of hope, maybe tomorrow. May the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. God is love. Amen.
This has been a presentation of Transcended Media.